babes, welcome back to my channel. My name is Maya if this is your very first time here. So real quick, y'all peep the braids. I've been wanting to get my braids done for a very long, okay, Maya, off topic. Let's focus. But yeah, they're cute though, right? In this video, we're gonna be talking all about common makeup mistakes and how to fix them. So we are going to be covering mascara marks, fixing cry marks, fixing under eye creasing, as well as smile line creasing, how to fix the wrong foundation shade, blending lines of demarcation, fixing the nose contour. We're talking about everything in this video. So because we're talking about so many things, I did leave in the description box a list of everything in this video, as well as minute markers so that you can come back to it. For future reference, just click that minute marker and it'll take you to that part of the video. Because I have a strong feeling that this video is gonna be kind of long, sis. So I had to hook y'all up with the minute markers. Before we hop into it, please make sure that you have hit subscribe below. I don't want you to miss any videos that I got coming your way. Also make sure you hit that notification bell as well so that you are updated when new videos go up. All right, babes, let's hop right into this video. So the first part of this video, we are going to actually be doing makeup. The first video we had about makeup mistakes to avoid, which I will go ahead and link right here, was more focused on doing half a face right, half a face wrong, showing you what not to do. But today we are going to focus on things that we do every day and mistakes that can happen and how to fix them so that your face can look as beat as it was before. First section is mistakes that you make while doing your makeup. So we're gonna go ahead and with some primer. Nothing really can't really mess up primer. But you know, make sure you're wearing primer. That's definitely a mistake that you want to avoid for sure. And really quick, how y'all liking the braids? This is my first video on my channel with my new braids. Do y'all like them? I'm feeling it. Obviously, I'm feeling myself these days, so don't mind me if I'm doing a little hair flipping. All right, so primer is out the way. The first thing we are gonna focus on is using the wrong foundation shade. I have mentioned multiple times before of how to match your foundation. You wanna match it to about right here where you get the color of your chest and your neck together, because we don't wanna match our face. We wanna bring this color all the way up since we're not covering this with makeup. So that's how you get the right shade. However, let's say, like in my natural drugstore tutorial, I did pick the wrong foundation in L'Oreal. I was not about to go back to the store because of Corona, just wasn't going back. So I had to make it work. So we're gonna just quickly go over how you can make your foundation shade work if it is a wrong shade and you ain't got no other options, sis. So since that is the shade that I use in that video, I am gonna go ahead in with the Infallible Full Wear, and this one is in 525, and it is the wrong shade for me. I did not know that. Obviously, it was during Corona time, so there's no shade matching, no putting it, you know, to see if it's your shade. So I kind of got stuck with it, but we're going to go ahead and use it today. If you can just see it on my hand, it's already just like way not my undertone. But we're gonna go ahead and put it all over the face. And it's very obvious just from it being blotted on my face that this is gonna be the wrong shade. We will get to how to fix it once we get into concealer and all of that. But the key to fixing your foundation shade, I know I'm looking like an Oompa Loompa right now, y'all, but that is the point. Just everybody just relax, chill out. But the key to fixing your foundation shade is choosing the right shade of concealer and contour and all of that. We wanna make sure that against the wrong foundation shade, we're using the right shades for us, and also making it kind of lighter than we usually would go for. That's gonna help to get rid of the contrast of the wrong shade underneath and kind of start to make everything flow correctly. All right, so our shade is a little off here. You see my chest is a lot lighter than my face. I'm very orange in the face, but you know, we're about to fix that. And we're gonna fix that with concealer. I'm not going to use my regular shade of concealer. I might use that a little bit, but I am gonna make sure I go in with my regular shade as well as a lighter shade of concealer, because that is gonna help to contrast the wrong shade to make it all better. I will also mention that this probably will work better if you're using a foundation shade that's darker than you, or like the wrong undertone but still kind of the right shade, not necessarily if it's a lighter foundation. So please remember that I said that. If you happen to get a color that's darker or the wrong undertone, this would work. Not if it's too light, because then you're just gonna be looking crazy. I can't do nothing for you, sis. But the first thing I'm gonna do is take my lighter concealer and go right underneath the eye. And I know you guys see the stark difference in this. It's very, very light, but everybody just calm down. It's gonna be fine. And the one that's my usual shade of concealer And I am actually going to use the Infallible Full Wear from L'Oreal, and this is in Honey. And I'm going to do this right here on the end. So you see the color difference of what's going on. We're keeping the lighter just right there at the end of the eye, and then bringing this one underneath and kind of blend into the foundation. And I am going to go ahead and use the right shade for me, which is not too light, which is Honey, and use that for the rest of the face. But if you notice, we are using an increased amount of concealer, and that is purposeful because we know we have on the wrong foundation shade, so we want to kind of mute that out and cover it with our concealer. So I'm gonna go ahead in with my sponge, and this one is the sponge from Colourpop, and it is super duper soft and super bomb. And I'm gonna start to blend this out. Now, one thing that I am gonna do, instead of just leaving the concealer right under the eye, I am kind of pulling it downwards into the face. So that's gonna help to, you know, neutralize that color of the foundation and start to kind of make it seem like it's your shade. Now, if you notice, underneath the eye, we're kind of getting towards the color of my chest area. Since we're doing that, it's making the foundation not look as bad because we are bringing in the natural shades of my, I'll say my face, but my body, if that makes sense, or the natural highlight shade. And like I said, the key to this is knowing the right concealer shades for you. So it's almost like, I know we're trying to fix the foundation shade, but to do that, you gotta make sure you have the right concealer. Point is, when you're dealing with makeup in general, you gotta have the right shades. That's just what it is. But if you have the right concealer and you do what I did by getting the wrong foundation, this can help you out. Okay, so before we blend out anymore, our next tip is going to be all about lines of demarcation. A lot of people struggle with this because I've definitely seen girls out up in the street with lines of demarcation on their face, meaning they're not completely blending their highlighted areas and their contoured areas and foundations together. You see how on my forehead you can clearly see like an arch there where the lighter shade is and then it goes into my foundation shade? That's what we want to get rid of. So we're going to talk about how to do that while you're doing your face. And hold up, I just realized I did not do my nose, so let me just go ahead and pop the nose highlight on. So we are obviously not as blended as we need to be. The main thing that I would say that you need to blend out lines of demarcation is a sponge. A sponge and whatever foundation brush that you use. For me, the forehead, I will always go back into the foundation brush that I used and use it to mute that shade. So I'm just gonna go over this like this. Please notice how I'm holding the brush and what I'm doing, and that will help you to blend it. You see how now it's more like a gradient? That's what we want, sis. That's what we want. So that could also work for here as well, where we're separating the cheekbone from, you know, the lower part of the face or the cheek, as well as around the chin. And this is a blending brush. This one is from MOTD Cosmetics, and it's called Beauty in the Base. And I love this for blending out. I actually do prefer a bigger brush to do foundation with, but you know, this is the first one I grabbed. I do prefer this more for blending out those lines of demarcation. And just patting with your sponge will also get rid of any lines of demarcations or streaks that you have made with a brush. Before we go into powder and all that, we're gonna focus on our nose contour. And this kind of goes also with lines of demarcation. As of right now, we low-key got a contour, but it's kind of like a reverse contour because we didn't use a deeper shade to contour it. We are gonna go ahead and pull out our NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer to contour the nose. And this shade is in Dark Coffee. And you always wanna bring your contour, if you do contour, all the way from the brow and all the way down. And I do use a more tapered, angled blending brush for this. I will start to blend out and push down the nose to make sure that we see the shade first before we start to blend. First, I want to see the shape that I'm creating. So I blend it down and then I push the shade in or out into the face. And see, from there, we see the nose contour, but it is not blended. This is a problem, sis. This is a problem. This is not what we want. So if you are gifted with the hands and you can squeeze, then you can definitely use your blender to pat over those lines. So one side I am going to use the blender, and I'm really just squeezing it, and I'm literally just patting over the line of demarcation to mute it. Now, I don't know if you can see the difference. I'm gonna try to come up a little bit, but on this side is more muted, and on this side it is more harsh. But you can also do this with like a brush. So I have another one that was just like that one. It's just a little bit smaller, and you can use it just to kind of go over the line. But to me, using like a beauty blender or a smaller sponge is a lot easier than using the brush, because you're literally just doing a patting motion to dull out that line. So the next thing we are gonna cover is creasing. Later on, we're gonna talk about how to correct creasing, but right now we're gonna talk about creasing prevention. I really want this video to be all encompassing, so like I said at the beginning of the video, all of the minute markers are in the description box so that you can hop straight to whatever your problem is, sis, and get you some help immediately. I'm gonna pull it a little closer so y'all can see what's popping with these creases. So if I look up, you guys can see where I'm creasing. I hope you can. Let's just hope this is working out because it's kind of hard for me to see, but you can see that the creases are happening. To make sure that we are not creating creases, and actually one side I'm gonna leave and the other side I'm not, because we wanna know how to fix it later. But this side I'm gonna fix. You can either add more concealer or you can go ahead and just blend out what you already have, but you wanna make sure you're looking up and that you blend that in. When I'm doing clients, I always tell them to look up and keep looking up until I set, because if they look back down, those creases are gonna set back in. You can see the difference between this one where the crease has been blended and this one where the makeup is sitting, the makeup has kind of disappeared within the creases. And this is not how you want to set your creases. This is how you end up with more creases. This is how you want it to be, and you don't want to look back down before you set. That is like the main thing with making sure that you do not crease on the under eye, or that it lasts longer. So I did just add a little bit more concealer, and I'm just gonna make sure that that is nice and smooth. And then I'm gonna take my powder, and today I'm gonna use my Mented powder, Skin Silk, and this is in light tan. I'm gonna press my sponge into it, press it onto my hand. And you can see it's still nice and smooth, and I'm gonna press it right underneath the eye. And we're making sure we're still looking upwards, just because we want to make sure that we're getting into those creases. We do not want to set right on top of the creases, because what's creased into your skin, it's not going to get that powder. And that's how it's going to end up being a bigger problem later than you want it to be, sis. I'm trying to save your life. And now we have a smooth under eye. Whether we look up, whether we look down, look to the side, whatever, it's nice and smooth underneath completely. Now the other side, we're gonna leave it how it is, and we're just gonna go ahead and set it without fixing the crease. By the end of this video, we are gonna be looking snatched and everything gonna be together, but I want to make sure I create some of these mistakes for you guys to show you how to fix things after your face is done or throughout the day. So I gotta create the crease in order to fix it. Okay, so now we can see the big difference between what I did. If you look up, this one, I did not blend out that crease. This one I did. So we can see the huge difference that it makes. I'm gonna just go ahead through and finish setting the face. And another thing with powder is we also want to make sure that we're getting in the nose. My ladies who are of African descent and we have, you know, bigger noses and creases on the nose, you want to make sure you're getting in there. Maybe you don't have to necessarily move your nose in, but just making sure that you're blending on there, because I've seen a lot of women in my time not getting those creases. So just as a friendly reminder, and I am ashy and y'all wasn't even gonna tell me, and I'm not about to play with y'all. Okay, that's better. So we're not focusing too much on bronzing today, so I'm just gonna go ahead and bronze around my face. But one thing you do want to make sure that you're paying attention to not make a mistake when you're doing your bronzer, is to make sure you're not putting it too far into the face, too far up or too far down. You kind of want to put it in the area where you contour, but we're not creating like a contour, we're just adding color back into the face. And choosing the right bronzer is another thing that can help you to neutralize your foundation shade, because I don't know if you guys are noticing now, we are no longer looking red. So yeah, this is also a great way to combat that as well. And if you've never heard me mention it before, it is a great idea to use your bronzer to contour your nose as well, or go over the contour lines on your nose. So it kind of just helps your face to have all like one color scheme, if that makes sense, or shades all over the face versus like a different color. So the next thing we're gonna talk about is eyes and eyeshadow, sis. I'm gonna go ahead and pop my concealer on the eyes just to, you know, get a base for my shadow. We're gonna talk all about eyeshadow fall out. So on one of the sides, I'm gonna do my eye makeup without putting on translucent powder underneath, and we're gonna have a little fallout. And then on the other side, I'm gonna put my lashes on first and then do my eyes, and we're gonna work on fixing that. We are using Amrezy today. We went into 1988 and I put that into the corner of the eye, and then I went into New Yorker and I used that one to blend out 1988, and also kind of brought those colors over the lid a little bit. I'm gonna take my finger and go into Cupcake and put that on the lid. And then I'm dipping into Liddy right here, and I'm putting this on the inner part of the crease. And this is a glitter shade, and we're doing that on purpose so that we can remove some glitter in a bit. Okay, so on this side, as you can see, we do have a little bit of fallout as well as some glitter dropping. And on the other side, I'm gonna pop my lashes on first. And this will probably help my ladies who, you know, sometimes we get a little lazy, me included, but just show you what happens if you do pop the lashes on first or don't take them off before putting on your eyeshadow. Okay, halfway through the eyes, I definitely realized I needed to be a little closer, but you know, better late than never. Okay, so before we get to fixing, let's go ahead and just do the eye since we have our lashes on. Hopefully this will deter my ladies who do this not to do it. So we're just gonna go back in with the shades that we use on the other side, which is 1988 in the crease, New Yorker to blend that out. Now the first thing I'll notice before I even keep going is that it's a lot harder to see the shadow. So obviously you see I'm having a little bit of blending problems because I can't see past my eyelash. So that is a problem in and of itself. We're gonna go ahead and make this work real quick. And then I went into the other side with Cupcake with my finger, but if you notice, it's gonna be a little harder to do that on this side, but I'm gonna go ahead and use the same technique as I did on that side on this side, but just let it be known that a chick can't see right now. I can't exactly see what's happening since I'm looking downwards, so just doing our best, And then we're gonna go into Liddy, which is the glitter, and place that where it needs to go. Let us just close our eyes so we can see the issues we just created for ourselves. Okay, so you can see all of the makeup on this lash versus this one with barely anything on it. Yes, you got a little bit of fallout from it, but this one is just absolutely ridiculous, to be honest. To fix that, and I'm sure a lot of us already know this, but you do need to make sure you have a really, really great black liquid liner, because that is the primary thing that's going to fix these types of problems. I have had times where I had an eyeshadow that transferred, even if I didn't do it like this, it transferred, and during the day I'd be at a party or something, I'll look in the mirror and I'll have like all glitter and stuff on the top of my lash, and that is just a problem. So liquid liner is all you need. What you want to do is look down into a mirror and use your liquid liner and go over your band. Obviously we're going over that, and then I'm kind of gonna pull it down. You don't want to use mascara for this, because if you do use mascara, it'll get on the tips of the lashes, and then when you look up and stuff, it'll get like on your skin, which that's actually another problem we can do. Just let's get through this one first. Okay, I'm just using this and going over everywhere where I see glitter and just pulling it downwards, but mostly primarily just on the top of the lash. And that's a really quick tip and thing that you can do throughout the day just to help yourself out. The only thing is that it will kind of knock down the life of your lashes. So best way to prevent this is to do your eyeshadow before you put on lashes. Please and thank you. And obviously another problem with that is that our shadow doesn't look as good as it does on the other side because you can't see. So that's another problem. All right, so before we move on, we're gonna really quickly fix the fallout that we have over here. We don't have that much, but number one, if you do end up getting fallout on your makeup, do not press it in, sis. Do not press it in, because that's gonna make the problem even worse than it was actually gonna be in the first place. If you're unable to dust it with just a fluffy brush, you can take a little bit of your translucent powder and put on the brush and then start to dust it away. You might have to put a little force on that to start to get it off, but it should help you to get it off of there. So essentially, we're kind of diffusing the color is what we're doing with this. And you don't want to use a brush that's too little for this. You want to use a brush that's nice and fluffy, because what we don't want to do is take off the face foundation underneath. And as you can see, she's gone now. So that's the perfect thing that you can do if you have already like pushed it into the face, a little set into the makeup, is to diffuse it with a powder brush that has your translucent powder on it. Now, of course, to prevent that, we want to put translucent powder underneath the eyes. We want to actually do like this before we put on our eyeshadow. That way it'll fall down into the powder and it'll be a lot easier just to wipe off. So I went ahead and finished most of the eye off camera on the bottom, but we're going into our mascara. and we are going to be creating some mascara marks here because it happens. Not that we want to do it on purpose, but it is a very common mistake that we make, and we want to know how to fix this. In the first place, the reason why those mascara marks happen, meaning like we got mascara on and we open our eyes or look down and suddenly it's like on our under eyes, all over the place. The reason that it happened is because we either put on too much, or we sprayed our face before it dried, or anything like that that can make it transfer. So on this side we have some mascara marks. If you look up, we got a little bit there, and I'm actually going to put a little bit on the lashes. Some of us actually have natural lashes that we actually put mascara on that gets on our makeup. So we've created a little bit of mascara marks there, which is a natural thing that happens. We got a little bit under there, and we were just coming up with a whole face of mistakes at this point. So the last main thing we're gonna cover while we're actually doing our face is highlighter. We want to avoid putting on too much highlighter, but we're gonna go ahead and put on a little bit too much today so we can see how to fix it once we make that mistake. And I'm gonna focus this on the cupid's bow area as well as the cheekbone. And if we're putting on too much highlighter, it really comes down to the tools that you use. Like, this brush is way too big to be putting on highlighter with, but we're gonna do it because we want to go ahead into, in a moment, how to fix this. All right, so the next section, we're gonna be talking about how to fix mistakes after your makeup is done. The first thing I'm gonna go into is mascara, because if you have created mascara marks and it's just like a really bad situation, you wanna kind of get it off while it's still a little bit wet, because that'll make it a lot easier to get off. And for this, you need a bobby pin. So I am gonna go ahead and use my bobby pin. If you guys can see, we have a lot of marks up here at the top. Now I'm gonna use my bobby pin just to start to move those marks and remove them. This is something that's always worked for me, because if you use your finger like your nail, you might start to scrape off the eyeshadow. This way, it kind of like moves the eyeshadow around, but in the same spot, while also getting rid of those marks. And I'm also gonna do this at the bottom as well. So it's always great to have a bobby pin handy on you, especially the ones that are like more closed like this one, instead of the ones that are like more of a U shape all together where they don't touch, because this one will be a little tighter, a little easier for you to scrape it off. Another thing that this is really, really good for, you might want to actually just grab another one so you don't transfer mascara onto your face, but you can use this to remove glitter off of your foundation. Yeah, I keep stopping to put on lip gloss because this And those of you who have skipped to this part of the video, ignore the highlighter. We haven't fixed it yet. We're kind of in the having on too much range right now. Back to removing glitter. So you can use this to remove glitter off of your face. And I don't know how well you can see, but we have glitter everywhere. So I'm gonna take the end like we did before and start to remove the glitter. This is only if the glitter has already set into the face and looks kind of stuck. If it's not stuck yet, please just take a clean brush or one with powder on it and just dust the glitter off. But if it starts to get pushed into the skin, then that's when you want to go in with the bobby pin. And essentially you can get nice and close up to your mirror and just start to scrape it. And scraping it with this will remove your makeup a lot less than using your finger, because the oils in your fingers will mix in with the foundation and it'll start to, you know, you can actually see what's happening there. But if you use this, it's a lot easier just to remove it and not have a mark there. If you do have a mark there, all you have to do is go over it with your damp beauty blender that has a little bit of your makeup still on it, and that will fix the problem. We all want to wear a little bit of glitter, but we don't want the whole face to have glitter on it. So bobby pins will save your life, sis. Save your life. So next we are going to get rid of some of this highlighter. We have put on way too much highlighter today. So number one, when you are putting highlighter on your cupid's bow, make sure you are very slightly putting it on the two lines that go down into your lip. That is where it can be overkill, and we don't want it that way. What I'm gonna do is take a clean blending brush and I'm gonna go over that just to kind of dull that out and get rid of it. And you can also do this everywhere else where you feel like you might have too much. Therefore, you still have the shade there, but you are just dulling it down a little bit. Our nose is too much of a button nose. It's not blended out enough. So we can do the same thing here. We are diffusing the brightness of that to where it looks more natural. So all you need is a clean, fluffy blending brush for that. Then on the cheeks, if we have gone in a little bit too much, I would go in with your sponge that already has your concealer and your powder on it. and start to dab on whatever side you don't want it to be so much. So here, I'm gonna dab on top and around it, and it will start to diffuse that shade as well as kind of blend it on the sides. Where we once had too much highlighter, now we have just enough. But like I said before, it's all in the actual tool that you use. Don't use a huge brush and then you're not gonna have that problem in the first place. So really quickly, we're gonna talk about how to fix under eye creasing and smile line creasing. Now mine aren't too bad right now, but when they do get bad, it gets bad, sis. But y'all know our under eye is looking crazy right now, so we are going to quickly fix that. So the first thing I'm gonna do is look up, and I'm gonna use my sponge and just start to diffuse those creases. So I do have under eye makeup on. I'm just kind of pushing it upwards. Sometimes if it's not that bad, this actually will help fix the problem. It might fix the problem completely. And in this case, it kind of did. You could just go on top of it with some powder, just not a whole lot. But if you feel like you need reinforcement, you can use your concealer. Do not use the lighter concealer, use your exact concealer shade. And you're just gonna tap like one dot underneath your eyeshadow. Like that's literally all you need. Now, if you are not super experienced with sponges and you don't want to use a sponge for this, you can use like a flat eyeshadow brush if you'd like, a clean one at that, and you can just use it to start to blend out that concealer. And you might want to look up so that you are not, you know, creating even more creases. And then go into your powder. Depending on your under eye makeup, you might have to go back in and reinforce, especially with some mascara as well. But that is a very easy way to fix your under eye creasing. And this is essentially the same for your smile line creasing. The first thing you will want to do is go into the butt of your blender and start to blend out those creases. And mine aren't too bad right now, but I'm still gonna demonstrate for you guys. You would wanna tap into your foundation, and I did use the wrong foundation today, so I'm gonna tap into a shade that actually worked for me. And this is my Beauty Bakery Insta Bake. You're gonna put a little bit of your foundation right on those smile lines. Go ahead and blend it out or pat it into the skin. Then you wanna take a powder, specifically a skin tone powder. Do not use like translucent Laura Mercier. Go into something that's skin tone and press it right into your smile lines. And make sure you're not just pressing in that area. Go around and make sure you're blending into your face, since we did just go on top of the original face with extra product. We want it all to look seamless and not like we just did something else. But that is a really quick way to fix those smile lines. And really quick, even though I'm not gonna demonstrate it, if you are wearing glasses or if you have on shades and you create those two little things right here, number one, to prevent that, I would recommend making sure that you are going over that with some waterproof powder, and I did use that in my 15 steps for sweat-proof makeup. Make sure you are piling on that waterproof right there. And that's also if you cry, but we're gonna get to crying here in a moment. But you wanna make sure you pile that on top of that, because that's gonna help that not to move underneath the glasses. Because the point is, those two pads from your glasses are creating perspiration. So it's sweat and it's wetness that's under there. So if you have on a waterproof powder there, it'll help it not to happen so quickly. But the same way that we fix our creases is how you would fix that if it does happen and you want to get it back to normal. And then pile on the waterproof so that it doesn't happen again. So we have two more steps, and the next one is crying. So what I'm gonna do is sit here and make myself cry real quick. I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but what can I think about to make myself cry? Just give me a second and work on this. I haven't blinked in almost a minute, guys. It's coming. Come on, Maya. Usually it's not this hard. Okay, I think we're in business. All right, here they come. Here they come. Don't blink, don't blink, don't blink, don't blink, don't blink. I know I look really sad right now, guys, but I'm making this happen myself. Okay, y'all, so my effort did not work. I had to go and put some contact solution on so I can cry. Crying prevention is to make sure you're using like blotting paper or toilet paper or tissue to pat it. So if you start to use that, it won't be as bad. And y'all see the bad foundation color starting to come through on this. It won't be as bad if you do that and if that happens. So I'm gonna use this beauty blender area right here, but it's not, you know, there's nothing on it. And if you start to blot, just down here, you'll see that things start to get better. We still kind of can see it, but if you do it as soon as it falls, sis, It'll save your life. So definitely pat and do not wipe when you are crying and you have makeup on and you don't want it to get messed up. Pat, do not wipe. But sometimes we might be in church, we may be at a wedding, we might be in situations where we can't just get up and go and fix our makeup at the moment that it gets crazy from crying. So it'll sit for a second. So I'm just gonna give myself a few minutes while this sits and sets into my makeup so that we can have a good reference and a good demonstration on how to fix it. So we've had a chance for it to set in a little bit. We are wet. If you look up, we are creasing on the under eye horribly, and then makeup is starting to disappear, which is our normal. You know, you've been crying, you go look in the mirror and you're like, ooh, this is a problem. We're gonna go ahead and fix that now. The very first thing you want to do is blot that area with your beauty blender or your sponge. So you can use where you had your makeup on before, that's fine. Especially if it's like in your bag from that morning before or whatever. Use that and just start to press over the area. That's the very first thing you wanna do. Yes, it's disappearing, that's fine. We just want to blot over it. Hopefully you got rid of the moisture already with a tissue, but this kind of just blots the area, kind of gets it ready to fix. So you want it to be smooth. You don't want really sharp lines of demarcation, because if we keep those really sharp tear lines and we just start to try to fix it from there, we're gonna have a problem. It's just very important to make sure that that is blurred out and kind of blended before we go in to try to fix. From there, we're gonna go into our regular steps to fix this up. Wherever the tear has fallen to, that's where you want to fix it. The next thing you want to do is take your foundation. You can put a little bit on your finger. You don't want to go straight into concealer. That is going to be a problem because you won't have a base underneath that concealer where you're covering up where the makeup came off, and you're going to be able to see the lines of demarcation where the makeup came off. So use your foundation, press it where you're missing makeup, and then blend that out. And putting on this base of foundation is probably the most important step when you're fixing like under eye problems and, you know, makeup has come off and you're trying to add it back in, especially on the under eye, is because we gotta have that base underneath the concealer. Even though this is concealer area, we need the base underneath because the base is underneath everywhere else. So now I'm gonna go into my regular concealer shade. I'm gonna put that here, and I did use a lighter shade towards the inner part. And essentially from here, we are just correcting. So I'm just gonna go ahead and blend that out. Same situation, don't want to create creases, so we're looking upward. And on the edges, you definitely want to make sure that you are blotting. So this one has a flat side, which I really love because you can use it just to blot that concealer into the face. And once you get used to this will take just like a couple of minutes in the bathroom. This is how you fix it if you don't want to do your whole face over. And we're good. And now all we got to do is set with powder and correct our highlighter and mascara. And look at me, doing the wrong thing. I already have too much highlighter on, so I'm gonna take the tip that I just gave y'all and kind of blot over that to get rid of the excess highlighter. And the last mistake we're gonna cover in this video is liquid lipstick. For liquid lipstick, number one, they can get really dry and crusty. So this one we're using today is the Crushed Liquid Lipstick from Anastasia Beverly Hills. Not only can it get dry and crusty, and I'm looking real dry and crusty right now, but it can be too light for your complexion, sis. This is way too light for me. We are gonna take care of two different problems right now. Problem number one, we need a lip liner because like I said, this is way too light for us. So I'm gonna take a lip liner, and this one is a brown lip liner, and I'm gonna go ahead around the lips and just start to work it onto the lips. It is preferable that you do this before you put on liquid lipstick, but these are getting real chapped. So even though we're fixing the color, the inside is looking real crazy, and that is a problem. So what you need to always have is some clear gloss, just some regular schmegular clear gloss. So if you use that and just put that right in the middle of your lip, things will start to change. So in this situation, not only did the liner save our life, but adding just a little bit of clear gloss, and depending on if you wanted your lips to be super matte or not, is how much gloss you need to put on. But it'll help to save that inner part of the lips getting real like crusty like and ugly, and then everything will be nice and smooth. But if you want prevention of this, I recommend making sure always that your lips are moisturized before you go in with anybody's liquid lipstick. And then also maybe not wearing liquid lipstick. There are certain formulas that work really well, and I would say like the Mented liquid lipsticks are amazing formula, and Lime Crime as well. But So they are not all made equal. And I actually don't like liquid lipstick that much anymore, so I'm actually about to take this off. But I just wanted to, you know, demonstrate for you guys so you can see what I was talking about. But sis, no, she ain't the one. Hi babe, it is I, reporting to you from the future. I filmed an outro for this video and apparently I didn't press record. So I literally just got back from my bed, editing the video, about to get it loaded up to YouTube for you guys, and realized I did not have an outro. So here I am. And I'm also trying to whisper because Amira is still asleep and I ain't trying to wake her up. But really quick, I did want to create this video because I get a lot of questions about these things a lot. So I wanted to put it all into one video. It was kind of a struggle to figure out how to film it. So I hope that the way that I did it was really helpful for you guys and you were able to really get some tips on how to fix some common mistakes. If you guys like this video, please make sure you give me a big thumbs up, comment below and let me know what you thought. Also, if you have any other mistakes or any other common mistakes that you want to hit on, let me know in the comments. If you have not yet, please make sure you hit subscribe below and I'll see y'all next time. Bye.